Hello and welcome to my video, where I'm going to show you how to knit 2-stitch cables by simply knitting the second stitch before the first. 2-stitch cables are where one stitch is passed over another stitch, and they either lean to the right or to the left. I'm going to be showing you how to knit the C2F or 1/1 LC cable and the C2B or 1/1 RC cable. I've already knit a few 2-stitch cables and I've placed them at the same points in the knitting, i.e. the same number of stitches from the edges, and stacked them on top of each other. As you can see, I've added a stitch marker on the right side or the front of the knitting. This is just a handy reminder about which side we're on, because we'll always be doing the cables on the right side rows. First, I knit 7 stitches to get me up to the same place in the knitting as where the previous cables have been placed. And then I'm going to do a C2F or cross to front cable, otherwise abbreviated as 1/1 LC or 1/1 left cross. To do this, I'm going to knit through the back loop of the second stitch. So I take the right hand needle down through the back of the second stitch, like so, and then do all of the steps of a knit stitch, except I don't slip the stitch off the needle. Make sure when you're pulling that loop through to the front, you're only pulling one loop. You don't want the needle to catch on any of the strands. Note that because you're knitting into the back of the loop, you're actually twisting this stitch, but it doesn't really matter because this stitch is the one that's travelling behind, so it's mostly hidden. Then knit into the first stitch as you normally would. So go up through the front of the stitch, knit it, and slip it off the needle. But this time you also slip the second stitch off the needle. And that's the C2F completed. As you can see, this cable travels to the left. And now I'm just knitting 4 stitches, and then I'll show you the C2B or cross to behind cable. This can also be abbreviated as 1/1 RC or 1/1 right cross. To do this, you need to knit into the front of the second stitch. So take the right hand needle up through the front of the second stitch. Take it over the top of the first stitch. And then do the usual steps of a knit stitch. When you bring the loop of yarn to the front through the second stitch, make sure you completely ignore the first stitch. Then you just knit into the first stitch as normal. And then slip that first stitch off as well as the second stitch. And that's the C2B completed. As you can see, this cable travels to the right. And then I knit until the end. For the next row, I knit 3. Then purled until I had 3 stitches left. And then knit the last 3 stitches. Note that you'll be repeating this pattern for the other wrong side rows. And now I'm going to show you that again. So I knit up to the same point, and for a C2F you need to knit through the back loop of the second stitch, but don't slip the stitch off the needle. Then knit as normal into the first stitch, and this time you do slip the stitch off the needle as well as the second stitch. Then for the C2B, you need to knit into the front of the second stitch, making sure you completely avoid the first stitch by going over it, and you don't slip the stitch off the needle. Instead, you knit the first stitch as normal and slip that off the needle as well as the second stitch. And then just knit until the end. And here you can see the result. And that's it, that's how you knit the second stitch before the first. I really hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.